What is up, you awesome people? It's Paul from e-commerce Gold back with another e-commerce comparison for you. And in this video, I'm looking at the two most popular options for building e-commerce websites, and they are Shopify and WooCommerce. And for this comparison video, I'm going to be looking at 6 different sections to really give a good comparison between these two platforms. And they are the pricing, the features that are available, the theme selection that is there, and also the customization options, the support options that are available for you as the user, the performance that these platforms offer, and finally how easy these are to use, before giving a conclusion at the end as to which one I think is the best, if there is a best out of the two platforms. So before I get into the video and the comparisons, I just want to give a quick overview as to what the main difference between these two platforms are, because even though they both offer the opportunity to build e-commerce websites, they come at this from different angles. And this is because Shopify is a fully hosted e-commerce platform, and what this means is for a set monthly price you get everything thrown in. So you get your hosting, you get support options, you get a website builder, and lots of features all included for this single monthly price. But the slight negative for this is you don't actually own your site outright. You're just basically renting it off Shopify. Yes, you're going to be on your own domain, but it's not your own site completely. You can't up it and move it to another provider. WooCommerce is slightly different because it's an open source e-commerce platform. Well, it's actually an open source e-commerce plugin, because it's an e-commerce plugin for the WordPress CMS, which is the most popular website builder in the world. And what it allows you to do is add e-commerce functionality to a WordPress website by using this plugin. And what this means is that you have more control over the website, but it does come at a few disadvantages, which I'm going to cover a bit later on in this video. So that is the two options. Basically, with Shopify, you pay a set monthly fee and you're basically renting space on Shopify servers and using their platform. With WooCommerce, you completely own the website. It's your website. You can move it from hosting provider to hosting provider. It's your site. You have complete control over it, which you don't have as much so with Shopify. But with the difference out the way, let's jump into the video and let's get on to section number 1. So the first section, as I say, is pricing. And when it comes to pricing, it's quite difficult to actually compare these two side by side because they come at it from completely different angles. And as I said, in the main difference between them, Shopify is fully hosted. And what this means is you get everything included and you get it for $29 a month. That's their basic package. They do have a smaller package, which is the Shopify Lite option, but this doesn't include the website builder. So if you want to build a complete e-commerce website, you're going to have to go for Shopify Basic, which costs $29 a month. And for this, you get unlimited products, you get unlimited bandwidth. There's no turnover limit on any other packages, but you do have a 2% transaction fee. Now, this transaction fee is only applicable if you're using third-party payment gateways, so things such as PayPal or WorldPay, SagePay, things like that. And this is added on top of the transaction fee you pay with using that payment gateway. So with PayPal, for example, the basic fee is 2.9% for using PayPal, but if you use the PayPal payment gateway with the Shopify, you'll be charged an extra 2% on top of that 2.9%, which goes directly to Shopify. This is negated if you use Shopify Payments, which basically is Stripe, but it's been integrated into Shopify, and you don't pay this additional 2% transaction fee. You just pay basic 2.9% transaction fee for using the Shopify Payments gateway. I hope that makes sense. I hope I explained it properly. Whereas WooCommerce is free to use. Well, it's not completely free. Yes, the plugin itself is free to use because Automatic, the guys who actually own the plugin, have never charged for it, and as far as I know, they have no plans to charge for it. But even though that is free to use and the WordPress CMS is free to use, you're going to have to incur some costs in terms of hosting because you need something to build the website on. Now, the hosting is much cheaper than Shopify's $29 a month, and you can get decent WordPress hosting for like $5 a month-ish. So while the WooCommerce plugin is free, it's not completely free to build a WooCommerce website. Hope that makes sense. So the second section is features, and these are all the features that are available on Shopify on the basic plan. Now, if you want to go and check out what's on screen, this is my full written comparison between Shopify and WooCommerce, and you can check that out on ecommercegold.com, but I'll leave a link in the description below. Now with Shopify, as it's fully hosted, you do get a massive amount of features, and these are all geared towards generating sales. So as you can see, you get a lot of e-commerce tools, there's dropshipping integration with third-party apps, you get flexible shipping rates, you can sell in multiple languages. So if you have a fully international audience, you can accommodate these, which is a really good thing. You can sell digital products, you can have gift vouchers, and also you can actually manage these on the go with the Shopify management app. But where Shopify is really good is where it comes to the marketing features, because as you can see, you get a lot of different marketing and SEO based features, which means it's really easy to market your website out there on like social media or get it ranking in Google and things like that. Really, really good features out there. You also get reporting options, you get a really good array of reports within Shopify that really help you analyze your shop and see what's doing well and what's not. And you get these payment gateways that are available as well. As I said, if you're using anything other than Shopify payments, you will incur that additional transaction fee on top of your payment gateway transaction fee. But one of the things that really stands out on Shopify is the Shopify App Store when it comes to features. Because even though they offer lots of features as standard, sometimes there isn't quite enough, or you want this additional like feature or functionality. This is where the Shopify App Store comes into its own, and there's over 3,000 apps to choose from within the Shopify App Store, and they cover a multitude of different areas, from marketing to stock management to pretty much you name it. When it comes to e-commerce, there's something in there that will be there to help you out. Now, unfortunately, not all these are free to use, because the majority of them are actually made by third-party developers, and to get access to all the features, you are going to have to go onto a paid plan, which is charged monthly, which can make Shopify quite expensive quite quickly if you're not careful. So always be careful when you're actually selecting which apps you want to choose. So what about WooCommerce? Well, WooCommerce, in terms of features in the core platform, really doesn't compare that well to Shopify. This is because WooCommerce is literally it's a core plugin which gives you basic shopping cart functionality. If you want to add any additional features to it, you're gonna have to go into the WordPress plugin library, because as I say, it's a core plugin, it's a core feature, and then you can build whatever you want off it. And this means it's really flexible. And what I mean by flexible is there's so many different businesses, e-commerce websites you can build from this. You can build basic B2C, you can build B2B, you can build multi-vendor marketplaces, subscription sites. Pretty much the opportunities are endless when it comes to WooCommerce. And as I said, you want to go into the plugin library. Now, everything in the main WordPress plugin library is free to use, but these apps are often limited when it comes to the amount of features that are available. Yes, there's some freemium apps in there, but generally, if you want full functionality of all these apps, you are going to have to pay the developers for it. Pretty much the same way you're going to have to pay the developers with the Shopify apps. The main difference is that with WordPress, you generally pay a one-off fee for the plugin. You're generally not paying it month by month, and this can make it cheaper over the long term. Yes, the initial cost to develop your site may be more, but the actual monthly ongoing running fees are generally going to be cheaper between the two platforms. So that is an overview of the features of the two platforms. If you want to read more of this, as I say, go and click my link in the description below to my full written review, because I cover this in a bit more detail. So number 3 is theme selection and theme customization. Now, as you can see on screen, I'm actually in the Shopify theme customizer, but I want to briefly talk about the amount of themes that are available before I show you quickly what this is like to use. With Shopify, there are a selection of 9 free themes you can choose from in the Shopify theme store. There's an additional selection that range from $140 to $180. But there is actually a lot of themes available outside of the Shopify ecosystem. On marketplaces such as ThemeForest, there's over 1,200 Shopify themes you can choose from, and then you can install them on your Shopify site. This gives it the largest selection of themes of any fully hosted e-commerce platform out there, and the theme selection is incredible. Pretty much it covers every kind of niche you could imagine. But once you've got it installed, the theme customizer is really good in Shopify. The only negative I've got with the theme customizer is it's limited to the homepage. So as you can see, I've got all these sections I can choose from, move about, edit, and there's an add section option here, which gives a lot of different sections, so you can really customize the look and feel of your homepage. The problem is this doesn't really expand into the rest of the Shopify platform, so you can't really customize your about page that much unless you install additional apps. As basic, you just get a basic text editor, which is a bit of a letdown. It would be nice to see this functionality expanded into the rest of the Shopify website builder, because it would just make Shopify so easy to customize and be able to really create very custom websites, even using pretty basic generic themes. So next, let's look at WooCommerce. Well, WooCommerce, nothing even comes close to theme selection when it comes to WooCommerce. This is because in the free plugin library, there's over 1,000 results if you use WooCommerce as the chosen keyword. This is incredible. There's nothing to say, nothing even comes close. And then when you go on to places like Theme Forest, there's thousands and thousands of premium themes available. Honestly, the selection is massive. You will struggle to not find a theme that matches your business. But when it comes to actual theme customization, it very much depends on the theme available. This is the storefront theme, which is the basic like WooCommerce theme. It's the theme that you can install for free, and it's the one by the actual guys at WooCommerce. And as you can see, there's lots of options in the customizer, but some themes will have less integration and less options. Some will have better integration and even more options. It very much comes down to the theme. But one of the good things with WordPress now is the Gutenberg page builder, and this means you can build custom like home pages, custom about pages really easily and really quickly. And the amount of blocks available is just growing and growing every single update. And there's also third-party plugins that produce a massive amount of different blocks, so you can really customize the look and feel of your website really easily using WooCommerce. Out of the two, I would just give it to WooCommerce, because you can expand this real customizability throughout the whole site. It's not mainly limited just to the homepage. And section number 4 is support, and this is the support options that are available for you as the user. Now, Shopify wins this one hands down. This is because it's a fully hosted platform, and it offers every user 24/7 support and multiple ways you can actually contact the Shopify support team. You can contact them via the phone, you can contact them via support tickets, via live chat, and you can even message them over Twitter if you want to. They've also got a community support forum that's frequented by members of the support team, plus developers and general Shopify specialists, basically, who can provide really good answers and sometimes alternative answers that may be available from Shopify directly. So it's a great source of information. Whereas WooCommerce, on the other hand, has very limited support options, and this is understandable because it's an open source piece of software. They're not going to offer the same kind of levels of support on a free plugin as Shopify are on their paid option. But you can still drop them an email ticket if you want to the guys directly at WooCommerce. But one of the great things about WooCommerce, even though you don't get support directly from them, is the amount of resources available that are online. There's support forums, there's Facebook groups, there's massive amounts of resources out there that you can choose from. There's people like myself who make guides, there's other YouTubers, bloggers, that say you name it, the amount of resources that are available online for WooCommerce is incredible. This is why so many people like using it, and it's such a popular option. But I do have to give the advantage to Shopify on this, because you can actually contact them directly and speak to a member of their support team rather than having to rely on third-party options, as you mainly will have to with WooCommerce. And section number 5 is hosting and performance, and it's really difficult to do a straight head-to-head comparison on this one because they operate in completely different ways. As Shopify is fully hosted, you get hosting as part of your package. And with this, you get PCI compliant hosting, you get unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, 99.9% guaranteed uptime, a global CDN, and a free SSL certificate included for your monthly package. When it comes to WooCommerce, it all depends on the hosting company you choose as to what things you get, what uptime guarantees you get, what bandwidth, what storage capacity. So this is where it becomes really difficult to compare the two, and it depends on the quality of the WordPress host as to how well it will compare against a Shopify store. But I still managed to do a bit of testing on this, and what I did was I took 3 of Shopify's customer example sites and ran them through Pingdom's speed test tool using their Washington DC server. I also ran them through Google's PageSpeed Insights as well, once a day for 3 days to get some good spread of data. And what I did with WooCommerce was I built a test site and I ran it through Pingdom's speed test tool once again to see how well it performed. To say this is not a complete head-to-head battle, because there's just way too many elements that influence how well a WooCommerce site performs. But Shopify done really well on the test, and it averaged a 1.07 second load time, which is incredible. To get anywhere close to 1 second is fantastic. And considering how big Shopify are, the amount of websites they run, to be able to produce this kind of performance to me is absolutely incredible and shows how robust their hosting environment is. They also done really well on the Google page speed scores. The mobile was 38 out of 100, which sounds quite low, but in comparison to other fully hosted e-commerce platforms, it's actually pretty good. And they scored 80 out of 100 on desktop, which is also really good, and especially when compared to other fully hosted e-commerce platforms. WooCommerce did really well in my test. It loaded in 0.95 seconds, but as I say, it's very difficult to compare these two because my hosting provider is really good, but I didn't do any optimization on the site. It was just WooCommerce demo content. I didn't do any like code optimization, any image optimization, anything like this. This was just the core WooCommerce plugin on a WordPress install, and it loaded in 0.95 seconds. So I hope I haven't rambled on too much when it comes to performance, but it is difficult to compare these two. Some people can make WooCommerce perform really well. I managed to have a fully fledged e-commerce site running on WooCommerce, and I averaged it loading like 1.5-ish seconds, and it scored pretty well on Google's page speed insights. But I've tested other sites that do really poorly because they're not optimized very well. So it all depends on your hosting provider and how well optimized your site is. And the final section is how easy are they to use, and there's a couple of things I look at for this, including how easy they are to get started, what they're like to use in terms of the dashboard, how easy it is to add and manage products, and how easy it is to manage your orders. And for this, Shopify is really simple, and it's really easy to get started with Shopify. It's just a case of going to the Shopify site and clicking sign up, and all you need is your email address and password to start the free trial. Now I will leave my affiliate link in the description below, and I do really appreciate it if you go through that link to Shopify, because if you do and you sign up to the Shopify platform, I get a commission at no extra cost to you, and it really does help the channel out and help the website out as well. So I really do appreciate it if you go through those links. Now once you've gone through and you've entered your email address and your password, you'll be taken through a couple of pages asking at what point your business is at, so whether you're just getting started, whether you're established, things like that, because it'll help tailor the dashboard a little bit more to you. And then once you figure that out, it'll ask for your business information, so your address, email address, things like that. Very simple sign up process, and it'll take you through to your dashboard that looks a little something like this. Now this is the Shopify dashboard. I really like it. It's got a very minimalistic style, and it's just easy to use. Everything is well labeled and well listed. So it doesn't take long to learn how to actually navigate your way around the dashboard, and this is pretty much exactly what it's going to look like for you. There may be different sections depending on what you've selected in the setup process, so what stage you're at, things like that. So outside of the dashboard, what's it like to manage your inventory? The add new product page is really simple. It's a single page layout that's really easy to use, and it doesn't take long to get used to adding a new product. When it comes to organizing your inventory, it's a little bit more complicated because they use collections, and the basic collections or the manual collections are really easy to use. They work like traditional product categories, but they do have automated collections, and this takes a little bit of getting used to. And if you do sign up to Shopify and you want to learn more about that, I'll leave a link in the card above and in the description below to my tutorial on collections, because I do explain it in much more detail in that video. And then managing your inventory is really simple because they have bulk editing tools, and they're really good. They allow you to change pretty much any field that's on the create a new product page from a bulk editor. It just makes it really quick and easy to update your inventory. If you need to update prices or SKU codes, things like that, you can do it really quickly. Order management isn't that great as standard because you can't print orders off with the core Shopify system. You do need to install the Order Printer app, which is a free app made by Shopify. Why they just don't install this anyway as standard, I do not know. But if you want to print off your orders directly from your Shopify dashboard, you are going to need this app. So overall, Shopify is pretty easy to use. It does take a little bit of getting used to with the collections, and you do need to install an app in order to be able to print off your order invoices and your packing slips. But what about WooCommerce? Well, WooCommerce getting started with is a bit more complicated, and the reason for this is you're going to have to find a hosting provider, you're going to have to install WordPress, and then you're going to have to install WooCommerce. And This is a little bit more technically involved because some hosts do install WordPress for you, other hosts you're going to have to install it yourself. And even though the installation process is pretty simple, you do need to make sure you're inputting the right information to make sure that it actually installs properly. But there are lots of guides out there to show you how to do this. Once again, I'll leave my full written guide to WooCommerce in the description below, and it takes you through all of these steps to help you out. I'm also planning on doing a video in the future as well. But once you've gone through the setup process, you'll be taken through to your dashboard that looks a little something like this. And it is, once again, a very simple dashboard, and it doesn't take long to get used to navigating your way around. As you see, there's a separate section for WooCommerce here, and this will take you into your specific WooCommerce section because everything else is related to general WordPress, not specifically WooCommerce. Now, when you do start installing additional plugins, you'll probably find that this navigation bar will get more and more padded out because some plugins will add links directly into this navigation bar, and that's something you do want to be aware of because that sidebar navigation menu can get quite full quite quickly. But what's it like to manage your inventory? Well, adding a new product is really simple because as with Shopify, they've gone for a single page layout, and this is based off the old classic editor on WordPress, and it just works, and it works really well. It's not the most visually appealing page, but once you learn how the layout works, it is an absolutely brilliant tool, and it does really allow you to populate a very substantial product page for your product listings, and there's lots of information you can add because you've got multiple sections on it. Managing your inventory is really simple as well because they use just a basic category system which you can produce parent and subcategories, and it just makes it really easy to create a product hierarchy for your products. Really simple. Managing your inventory in terms of stock level is pretty simple. They have a quick editor which you can use on the product overview page, and this allows you to change certain options. But if you want to change like your description and things like that, you're going to have to go in and do that by product basis. But you can, in the quick editor, manage things like your SKU code, your price, sale price, and stock quantity. It is a really good tool, if not quite as good as Shopify's. But managing orders within WooCommerce very much has the same limitations as the core Shopify in terms of you need to install an additional plugin in order to add this functionality. And there is one that's really, really good. It's the WooCommerce packing slips and PDFs. I probably got that name wrong, but when you go on to install WooCommerce, it'll be the next option on the right as far as I can remember. And you want to install that as well because not only does it allow you to print orders off directly from your WooCommerce dashboard, but it also adds sequential order numbers as well, which is something that WooCommerce doesn't do as standard. And you do want this because it just makes managing your orders so much easier. So my conclusion out of these two platforms, which one is better? Well, it very much depends on you and your business, because if you just want basically a turnkey option where you can just sign up, add a few products, customize the theme, and you're good to go, then Shopify is the better option for you. But it does have some limitations in terms of some customization options and the fact that you don't have full control over how your Shopify site works because it is limited a little bit. But if you want a site that you want to have full control over and full flexibility over, then WooCommerce is a really good option. Also, if you want to build something more than just a basic e-commerce website, say you want to build, as I mentioned, like a multi-vendor marketplace, a subscription website, a membership website, you can do that using WooCommerce as a core. So if you want something a little bit different, then WooCommerce is a really good option. So as I say, it very much comes down to you and your business. One final thing I will say is with Shopify, you don't have to worry about any of the technical aspects. So you pretty much know that your website is going to work. WooCommerce, on the other hand, you can run into technical difficulties, especially when it comes to updates, things like plugin updates or theme updates. It can cause potential problems, and it is something you need to be aware of because it doesn't always run smoothly. I know I've been there myself, whereas Shopify is pretty much guaranteed to work all the time without any input from you. So there you go. It very much comes down to you and your business as to which one is better for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I know I enjoyed making it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please smash that like button because it really does help the channel out. Also, if you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I'll see you on the next video.